Welcome, everybody. This is the School District of Prescott Board of Education regular meeting. I'll call the meeting to order subject to 1983 Wisconsin statutes. First item here is the Pledge of Allegiance. Tanya, would you like to lead us, please?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item here is recognition of visitors. Rules for public comments are as follows. Please approach the podium one at a time, stating your name, municipality, the topic you'd like to address. Allotted time is 3 minutes per individual, or 6 if you are representing a group that is present at the meeting. All comments should be directed to the board and not to other staff, or to staff or other participants. The board will not act on any comments that are made during a meeting. The presiding officer may direct the district administrator to follow up with that individual at a later date. The public comment section will be limited to 30 minutes unless board action is taken to extend. And as always, please refer to our full public comment policy listed on the agenda for a description of this section of the meeting. Anybody in the audience here care to be recognized at this time?
Yes.
Yep. Right up here.
Good afternoon. I'm Natalie Kronig. I have a student here that goes to Prescott High School. The reason why I'm coming is to just discuss some of your policies in regards to codes of conduct and employee expression of non-instructional settings, code PO 3310. When somebody violates that, I have a question of what you guys do about that. In regards to our code of conduct, with integrity, honesty, in a manner that reflects positively of the board and the district. And I also have just a statement. I am a nurse, and there's several educators here, and we have mandatory reporting for threats and for, acts of violence. And I believe that there was a teacher that did incite a threat and wanted harm to come to the President of the United States. And I feel that that is absolutely wrong. And I'm looking to see the district's stance and I guess just answers in regards to that in particular, and how we can curb this so other teachers don't follow suit. As educators, I hold them to a very high standard, and they are role models to our young kids. And I would hope that the district upholds that in the highest form, and that's what I'm looking for tonight.
Thank you. And I think I know what you're talking about, but I would recommend talking to Jim here, if you haven't talked to him yet, but we'll...
Who is Jim?
Our superintendent.
I'm Mr. Reef, I'm the superintendent.
So
Okay.
I think per our policy, or our kind of open statement policy, then we can ask him to follow up with you separate, because it's about a specific staff.
We'll definitely do that.
So we'll have him do that.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else care to be recognized?
I'm not sure, but it's Ethan's mom.
All right. We are going to move on. Good news. Student rep, Kaden Hillebrand?
Yep. Good evening. My name is Kaden Hillebrand, and I am the school board representative for the student body. For starters, the middle school is conducting a Pop Tab Challenge that will take place May 18th through the 27th. Students will collect tabs and turn them into their TAs. The TA that collects the most tabs will win a pizza party. The tabs collected will benefit hospitalized children and their families. Additionally, the middle school students are looking forward to the end-of-year party that is hosted by the middle school parent committee. Within the high school, spring sports are in full swing. Our varsity track athletes participated in the Middle Border Conference meet yesterday, while boys participated in the NBC tournament this past Monday. Playoff games for both softball and baseball will take place within the next few weeks. Advanced placement testing took place throughout the month of May. Numerous Prescott High School students had the opportunity to earn college credit through taking these classes. Moreover, graduation for our class of 2026 seniors will take place this Friday at 7 p.m. at the high school. On another note, I want to express my gratitude for the opportunity to serve as the school board representative for the student body. I truly appreciate the respect and support I was shown throughout the process. It has been truly incredible and very valuable to witness firsthand how local governing bodies operate and to see the dedication and hard work that goes into creating a fun, safe, and supportive school environment for all students. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this important work.
Thanks, Kaden.
Thanks, Kaden, and congratulations on making it through, and good luck in, I think it's Madison? Yes, good luck
Thank
in
you.
Madison, too. And we know that you're going to be so excited to come back to Prescott and be part of the school board at some point.
Right.
Because this was
Thank
such
you.
an enlightening experience for you. Thank you. All right. Sarah.
Sarah Dusick, and I'm representing the admin team on our Good News from around the district. At Malone Elementary, congratulations to Camille Marston on a great first field day at Malone Elementary. She had a beautiful day. There were lots of smiles, and the students had so much fun. A special thanks also to Alyssa Crack, Janelle Perkins, and some other parents who were instrumental in helping Camille in the planning of the event, and also to Abby, Maddie Morrow, and the middle school SALT group who also helped run the events for the students and make it such a successful day. Our kindergarten music program and graduation will be on Wednesday, June 3rd at 1 o'clock in the high school PAC Center. And that is also our last day of school. And then our 4K through 8th grade summer school kicks off on June 8th and wraps up on June 26th. Also within our summer school programming, our play this year is Frozen, and students started having auditions for that today. And there will be 2 different performances for Frozen, where community members will get the opportunity to see the play if they want to. It's been adorable every year, so if you get a chance, I highly recommend you coming to see it. The performance will be on Friday, June 26th. They'll have a performance at 4 o'clock and at 5 o'clock. From the intermediate school, they've had a number of unique learning field trip experiences this month. Mr. Kosmelski would like to thank the following community partners that made those events memorable: the Cooley River Trails, UW River Falls Farm Lab, the Kaya to Wish chapter of Trout Unlimited, and the Prescott History Center. And he would also like to invite everyone to come and celebrate our 5th graders at graduation on Tuesday, June 2nd at 1 o'clock, also at the Performing Arts Center. And then our middle school year is wrapping up quickly, and last night Ms. Camrath and the middle school choir had their final concert. Last week was an amazing concert. The band wrapped up their final concerts as well, and I believe all K-8 are finishing up their 4th and final fast spread screenings this week as well. The high school. The Middle Border Conference track meet was last night. Prescott boys finished runner-up and the girls team took 4th. First team all-conference honors went to Andrew Russell in both the 100 and 400 meter dash. Makaria Haas was first team all-conference in the discus, and Kira Dix got a new school record in the 3,200 meter run. So congratulations to all of them. State speech was conducted virtually this year due to severe thunderstorms in Madison the day of the event. The following received gold for their video submissions: Abby Stubbe, yay, and Sophie Perez were gold. Ayla Peterson got gold. Cassidy Hansen got gold. Leah Most received gold. Paige and Lily received gold. Emma Schmitz and Riley Renteria received gold. We also had a fair share of silvers and bronze. So congratulations and nice work to all of our speech participants, members, and coaches, our Ann Cressley and Allie Pashuk. Track and field, boys golf, softball, and baseball will all begin their WIAA postseason events next week. A special thank you to CAB and all others involved on their outstanding facelift to the baseball tower at Fire Hall Field. It looks outstanding. And our middle school and high school band and choir concerts were amazing. Excellent performances, and kudos to the high school seniors who had their final performances of their high school career.
Thanks, Sarah. Jim?
First off, our Cardinal champion is Dee Dee Mulligan, who is our middle school cafeteria. She runs the checkouts, has for the last 11 years as a cashier. She has an incredible gift for making every student feel seen and valued. The kids absolutely love her. Working out of the middle school, I go up there sometimes during lunch, and to see the genuine care and the interaction, all the kids know her name, she knows everybody's names, and she just has such a positive impact on those middle school students every single day. And I believe she's a little faster than Mr. Igo on the cashier checkouts. They have races and we get updates on that. Nicole Lenzner's done a great job this summer. This just came about, so we kind of rushed through this the last 2 weeks. Nicole did a bunch of training with the DPI to get this taken care of. Due to, frankly, a federal shift in the poverty lines, we are now available to give students free food throughout the summer. You do not have to be on free and reduced lunch. You just have to be 18 years or younger, and actually we're allowed to serve surrounding communities as long as, I believe as long as you're in Wisconsin. So River Falls, Ellsworth, Pepin, anybody can come. All you have to do is show up with the child in the car. You get free breakfast and free lunch for a week and a gallon of milk. They will load you up. You pull up in front of the high school. And you will load things up. Why are we doing it in the high school? Because the high school is in the federally drawn line, the other schools are not, and that's honest to God the only reason we're doing it there. But each child gets their own complete care package and gallon of milk. If you need more than, or if you don't need both gallons of milk or 3 gallons of milk, you don't have to take that. Again, there's no income requirements. To help prepare for meals, we're going to have them do a simple Google sign-up form, which will be available starting June 8th, and we will take off with this and do our best to make sure we have extras those first few weeks and try to get into the groove of it. Think of it similar to the COVID time of year when everybody would pull up and grab meals to go, but now this will be on a weekly basis every Thursday from June 18th to August 6th.
Cool.
And last but not least, I'm not going to read all the names, but I want to put them up there. On June 4th, we are going to have our end of the school year luncheon, and we are going to acknowledge the people who have been here. For 15 years, it's Brittany Camreth and Nick Johnson. 20 years, Bob Fireeisen and Mandy Matzik. 25 years, Jill Kittleson and Mandy Burdnick. 30 years, Ann Cressley and Yvonne Zarnstorff, And then our retirees, Ann Cressley after 30 years, Mike Hoyk after 22 years, Mike Tomley after 9 years, and Diane Morth after 9 years. So we're looking forward to that on June 4th, and I'm sure the staff are also looking to staying home on June 5th. So.
All right, we're going to move on to business. First item is the consent agenda, so I'm going to roll through these quick. The items are as follows. April 15th, 2026 regular meeting minutes, finance reports, personnel report for non-licensed staff, high school football overnight trip to Holman, Skyward.
Don't try to say
cumulative, or what is it?
It's supposed to. It's a version of quality, but that's their
transition document. Skyward transition document. That's what we're going with.
Yep.
Middle school Chromebook lease renewal, EOJ contract renewal, selection of depository for investment funds, designated office official newspaper and publication of minutes, renewal of WIA annual membership, and accept open enrollment applications to the Prescott School District for 26-27 school year. That is all rolled into consent. Anything in the consent agenda that any of the board members would like to have pulled out for discussion or action?
No.
Okay, and we'll make a motion, no, we can do that now. So we can make a motion to adopt the agenda and approve the consent.
I move to adopt the agenda and approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Vicki, yep. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That carries. And on to, next item is elect school board offices. This is, every year we do this for after the April election cycle. Just to note, it's state statute that I have to ask for nominations 3 times. It gets a little awkward for me, but we're going to go through it one by one here. So at this point, we will make a motion to nominate somebody as president for the school board.
I move to elect Mike Matzik as president of the school board.
I'll second.
We have a motion. Is there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? No other nominations. So we have a motion and a second. We can, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Next up is vice president.
I move to elect Tanya Holub as vice president of the school board.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for Tanya. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? All right, Tanya for vice president, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That carries. This is where it gets a little dicey now. We got clerk for next. Who was clerk? Pat was.
Women's clerk, yeah.
I move to elect Pat Block as clerk of the school board.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other nominations, Brad? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? All right, that is Pat for clerk. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. And lastly, we have an opening for treasurer.
I move to elect Vicki Rudolph as treasurer of the school board.
These are highly
I'll second.
sought-out positions here. So we have a motion.
She's been
second for Vicki.
campaigning, I'm just saying.
Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? All right, Vicki for treasurer, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. And that concludes election of officers. Thank you. We are moving on to item C, consider personnel reports for certified staff.
We have 3 hires. Addie Schmidt, we're excited to announce her as our recommendation for 912 Prescott art teacher. She's a new education graduate from UW Stout and brings with her an expertise in visual art. Amy Foy has a diverse background both in education and the business world. She's recently served as a substitute and prior to that as worked over at St. Joe's as a 4th grade teacher. And then Lily Monteith recently graduated from Minnesota State. She's also a Prescott High School graduate and completed her year-long student teaching assignment in 2nd grade at Jefferson Elementary in Faribault Public Schools. We are losing Anastasia Bundy, Logan Figueroa, Grace Wise, and Helena Yanish. So that fills every position except for our tech ed teacher. Just to put it out into the universe, if anybody who has any teaching experience or could possibly get an alternative license for a tech ed teacher, it is the hardest position to fill in the state of Wisconsin year after year after year. So if you know anybody out there, send me some names.
Anybody have any questions or comments on any of the hires or resignations?
I had a question. You said that we are all hired except for the tech ed. Are we not filling one of the special ed positions?
We're not filling one of the special ed positions. We did a study on all of our caseloads, K-5, due a little bit to declining enrollment, and frankly, what grade levels some of the cases are, moving from 5th to 6th. We're going to be able to cover that without filling the special education position.
All right, anybody else? All right, we can consider a motion.
I move to approve the personnel report for the certified staff as listed.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. On to item D, high school football overnight trip to Rice Lake.
Per board policy, all new overnight trips need to be brought in as a separate business item. This is a lineman camp that's going to run for 2 days. Frankly, it's June 18th and 19th, and the sun's up till 10 o'clock. And from what I understand from Mr. Smith and Coach Hansen, they go quite late into the night. So they are going to cover both nights of the they're going to cover the food and the gas, and we're going to cover the gas, and they're going to figure out a way to stay in the school. It's kind of a bonding experience for the kids. So they have fundraising to cover the majority of the costs, and the rest, like I said, is just part of our transportation budget, and it'll be a great experience for 2 coaches and probably 10 to 12 football players.
Vicki, any questions here?
Yeah, are they going to need a bus and a bus driver?
We are probably looking at 2 vans, or a van and a Tahoe, or that's a little later down on the agenda, actually, what they're going to be taking.
Okay, I was just wondering if
Yeah.
we had to
No,
come
I
up
think
with
it's,
a room for
Matt, we're looking
a
at
bus
2
driver.
coaches and 2 smaller vehicles, right?
Yes, coaches will drive.
Okay.
Van and Suburban.
All right. Brad, anything on here?
Nope, I'm good.
Tanya?
Nothing, just remind me, this is not on the consent agenda because it's a new trip?
It's a brand-new trip. This is the first time they ran the so yeah, that's why the Holman one's there on the
Yep.
consent agenda for everybody in the audience, and this one's not.
Thank you.
No
Pat?
questions.
No? All right. We'll take a motion here.
I move to approve high school football overnight trip to Rice Lake.
I'll second.
It's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Item E is to set the date and time of the 2026-27 school board meetings.
Who seconded that last one?
Brad?
It was just, yeah,
My first.
first one.
Congratulations. Good job.
Can we get a plaque or anything? We'll work on that.
So currently 6 PM on the third Wednesday. That's what we've been doing. Anybody have any objections to that, or?
No, I think we asked this last time. I mean, how is it working for everybody, particularly the administration? If this is the right time, then.
It works for us. Honestly, Courtney and I looked through the whole calendar for next year. There isn't anything that should be weird. We miss spring break. We miss the third Wednesday is not around Thanksgiving or anything else like that. I'm sure that at least one of these will move just because that's the way life is. But for the most part, the other one that's big is we don't get our official numbers until October 15th, and we have enough time after October 15th to set the permanent budget as well. So actually 26, 27 should be a good year for the third Wednesday.
Okay.
In the 6 PM time slot, was a change 2 years ago that we made, and
yeah.
it sounds like feedback has been that's better than 7 from
Yeah.
everybody who comes. Okay,
Yep.
sweet.
Okay, we can take a motion unless anybody else has any comments here. Anybody? All right.
Well, I move to designate the third Wednesday of each month at 6:00 PM at Prescott High School as the official date, time, and location of the 2026-27 regular board meetings.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Thank you. Item F, purchasing a lawnmower for custodial purposes. Consider.
So the last time they purchased a new mower was in 2014. They have the funds in the budget. This was kind of Adam Roll's, one of his first major purchasing projects, and he did a great job with it. Went out and got 3 different bids. John Deere comes in as the lowest bid. The rest of our, I don't know what to call it, fleet, the rest of our equipment is typically John Deere. They're local, they're right by us. They have a really good service record with us, and it's something that they need. I mean, everything they got is 10 to 12 to 14 years old, and we'll get the use out of it. The quote is for $12,495, if I have the right one in front of me.
Pat, questions?
No questions. from me,
Tanya?
no.
No questions.
I apologize, I had the wrong one in front of me. $12,238. Sorry.
There it is.
I don't have any questions, but I didn't see anything in this file, or I wasn't able to open it. Were we able to get any?
Yeah.
Sent any bids? Were they attached somewhere?
3. There was 3 in there.
Why couldn't I get into it?
It's kind of a weird, yeah,
Okay.
there's a weird link in there.
Brad?
No question.
And so John Deere was the lowest bid, and we have John Deere for everything else, right?
That's correct. We have
Alright.
John Deere for everything else. And they were the low bid by $300.
It looks like we have, if I'm reading this right, we have like a Gravely or something also? Okay.
All right, I don't have anything. Anybody, we can take a motion here if there's no other questions.
I move to approve purchasing a John Deere lawnmower for custodial purposes.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That carries. Item G, consider purchasing a 10-passenger 2018 Chevy Express van.
Mr. Montreal will talk about this as well as the next agenda item, the bus sales.
Yeah, good evening, Board. There seems to be a few of these kind of rolled in here, but a couple of slides here will hopefully explain everything in detail. We are looking to basically purchase a larger vehicle to replace the Tahoe, and the reasons are listed there on the slide. First of all, the Tahoe is not really proven to be what we thought it was going to be. The usage, the space, the number of passengers, with very little cargo to boot. So it's not really been beneficial for a lot of our athletic programs as we thought it might be, minus girls golf. And the only reason girls golf uses it because they bring a trailer and they hook up the trailer on the back. The lease that we're paying a month is about $871. The remaining lease balance is just under $14,000, and those numbers are proving to be somewhat difficult to navigate financially. The fundraising that we thought would occur has not occurred as regularly as we hoped, so it's really not offsetting the expense very much. The van, if there was a purchase there, would accommodate larger groups of up to 9 passengers with a driver, offers a lot more space inside the vehicle as well, and the van also does have a trailer hitch in case there was that need. The van would be added to our actual transportation fleet and kept at the bus garage, which then we would hope could be utilized by more groups. Right now, the Tahoe is kept at the high school, and the group that uses it the most is actually our special education folks. They run the backpack food program and things like that, so it's really a good vehicle for them. On the next slide, kind of an update, which will blend into the next couple of things on the agenda. Our fleet, as an update goes, we suffered a recent loss. Our district mail van retired. It was called the Maserati, but it was anything but a Maserati. I think you could actually see through the floor. Well, maybe not that bad, but it was in really, really rough shape. So we actually brought that to a salvage yard and got, I think, $250 for just junking it. There's a couple buses right now in the fleet. that we really honestly don't use. It's been this school year, and then I think we used them once last school year. So they're just basically sitting, taking up space. We have auctioned off 2 other buses before, so the hope would be that we take the 2 buses that are currently sitting there not being used and go to that same auction site to see what we can get for those 2. So then ideally the purchase of the van would facilitate some other things. We could potentially reassign a new mail vehicle. Right now we're using a maintenance truck. And then, like I said, I believe it would just better serve our overall district needs for larger groups with more storage and space. Voiding the lease, which we are able to do, and again, that would be based on buying the van. And then selling 2 buses should recoup about 80% of the purchase price for the van. So the van right now, I think, is about $25,000. The lease of $14,000. The hope of 2 buses will be roughly about $5,000. Maybe being optimistic on that. But around 80% of the total price.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, at the end of the next 14 months when the Tahoe lease is up, we just have to give it back, right? We don't get anything for it.
Yeah, I'm looking at Matt at that one. Yeah, that's the case, right? We don't just get it then.
I guess that was my question.
Any other questions?
No, I mean, that was, Pat, thanks for that one. That was a question. Back to the buses, and you're right, there's a couple things rolled in here.
Yep.
So, we are looking to sell 2 buses to the surplus site.
Yep.
But we will still have, that still means we have 2 barely used buses and 4 backup.
Yeah, we have 2 of the buses that are kind of on the first call, 4 buses that get serviced regularly that I think their comfort level in the bus garage is that extenuating circumstances in the worst case scenarios we're covered at all times.
Okay.
With the 2 and then the extra 4.
Okay, all right. And just in the event of an extenuating circumstances, the 2 buses that we're recommending go to surplus are probably not long-term answers and anything we wanted to keep as a asset.
Yeah, I mean, right now, just to even keep them serviced and running is costing us money. And over the last 2 years, if we're literally only use them once or twice, I think that trend will continue. And if we do come to the board potentially next year, I mean, because it's a cycle of buying a new vehicle, then that would help our fleet even more.
Okay, thank you.
Tanya?
I just had a few questions also, but the Tahoe you said is primarily used by our special education kiddos. Will they be using the passenger van instead, or how does that work?
Yeah, we haven't really worked that out. I know Mr. Figge and I were talking about that recently, and the special ed people have asked, so I don't have a great answer on that one. The idea would be the bigger van would kick a minivan potentially down to our building because we have two minivans currently we use.
Okay.
So I think that's the best plan so far.
Okay, but we'll still be able to meet the needs that we currently have with our
We will,
special
yep.
kids. Great. And then the 10-passenger van is the other one. We had the Tahoe. That was something that we were leasing. So the passenger van, do we pay all at once? Will we be kind of making payments on that, or how will that work?
Yeah, I'm going to defer to Mr. Reef on that one.
If all goes well, we've had a very good year. Shout out to Aaron and Heather. And a little bit to luck, we haven't had any major repairs in our fleet this year, besides the mail van that kind of retired itself and wasn't worth fixing. So the money is in there. It's kind of a perfect storm too, because Cernhouse, we were talking to them a little bit about the lease, and Rick and Matt did a great job with that. And then they happened to have this van come in about 3 weeks ago, and we're like, can you hold on to it for a little bit and we make it to the end of the year? Knock on wood with you, Tanya, if we make it through the next 2 weeks without a bus blowing up, we have cash just to pay cash.
Okay, great, thank you. That was all I had.
Yeah, Vicki?
No, that, if it's gonna work out better transporting need-wise, and if we can get out of the lease because it's just not panning out how it was expected, then, yeah, I'd say we need to move forward, so thanks for checking on that.
Yep.
Brad?
So it sounds like, well, I mean, long-term, it's a better financial, it'll save the district money for long-term.
For sure, yeah, when we purchase the van outright, we get the van.
Right.
And the lease of the Tahoe, we're losing out in a year or so.
Yep, okay. No, it sounds good.
I remember the Tahoe conversation. One of the reasons we went with it was because coaches could drive it, or we didn't need like a CDL license person that had to drive. The 10-passenger van, same thing, right? I mean,
Same thing.
No issues there.
Yep.
So, okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Any other questions from anyone? Let's just take these one at a time here. If we have questions about the buses, we can go through this again. So item H, so we're talking about the Tahoe.
No, just one before that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Gotta go to G.
Move the 10-passenger. Yeah, you're right. I got it.
Go to G.
Yep. So this is about the 10-passenger van.
I move to approve the purchase of a 10-passenger 2018 Chevy Express van.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That one carries. Anybody have any questions on the Tahoe? Are we good on that one? Otherwise, we can take a motion.
I move to approve removing a 2024 Chevy Tahoe from our transportation fleet.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That one carries. And then do we want to talk about, do you got more to talk about on the two buses here? They're removing the two buses?
I don't.
Not unless you want to buy one.
Does anybody have any other questions for the bus, about the buses? I think we talked a little bit about it, but you good? Yeah, anybody else?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, all right. Then let's just do a motion on this one too.
I move to approve removing 2 buses from the transportation fleet and using the required auction site for the disposal of public property.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries, and we are done with business, and it's 6:37. You're welcome. All right, we're going to keep rolling. Information discussion, virtual charter school. Josh's favorite topic. Can't wait to get up here and talk about this.
I just leave Rick up here.
There's nothing else going on this week at all, you know.
All right, good evening.
There's a clicker there for
There's
you,
a
Mr.
clicker right
Freedy.
here. All right. All right, last month we took our first shot at introducing or reintroducing virtual charter for Prescott School District for people who weren't in attendance, and I think just about everybody was, but just a kind of a 5,000-foot recap. Virtual charter would be a partnership with Prescott School District under the authority of the school board and superintendent. Students who attended the virtual academy would not be Prescott School District students. Instead, those students would be governed by a governance board that's made up of Rivers Ed Virtual Academy staff. And so the school board had some questions last week, and I want to try and address those without going over everything again, and then we can kind of recap if you guys have more questions. I think most of the questions last week centered on a few of the details, so I tried to get those into the following slides. I think one of the first ones was, what do the roles and responsibilities look like? So we were able to meet Mr. Reef, myself, Ms. Bowe, Mr. Igo, Mr. Kosmalski, and really what we decided was we wanted to do our responsible parties by position. So you can see that we looked at a lot of the executive decisions that would need to be made in executing this virtual academy, and I was given the honor, I guess, of being the program administrator for Rivers Ed Virtual Academy. And then we kind of divided the other responsibilities up amongst some of our relevant people who are doing those same responsibilities in district. So I think some of the big questions were around finance. Ashley would take on finance, and then we would share a lot of the other responsibilities responsibilities between Mr. Kozmowski and myself, one of our counselors, and Susie Linder, who's currently serving as our counseling and career coordinator, and doing our enrollment and our state reporting for a lot of the things that we do at the secondary level, would also then take on that role and responsibility for REVA. One of the other questions centered around our governance council, and I think not only how big was it and who would be on it, but how was it selected? So we did a little more digging. This can be appointed, and the suggestion was when starting this, it should be appointed. You should have some static members that are part of your district. So we looked at the secondary principal that would be opposite of myself, which would be Mr. Igo, would serve on this. Mr. Kozmowski is our Director of Teaching and Learning, and then one of our secondary counselors, because they'll be working most closely with those 6 through 12 students. Outside of those 3 positions, then, the additional representatives really, I think, are the important ones, because they're going to provide the perspectives of the parents who are engaging in the programming, the parents of students who are in Prescott School District, and community members who would want to see the success of these students and the program itself. Our contacts that we reached out to said those are the hardest positions to fill, especially the parents of REVA students, because that does tend to be a little more transient population. So their suggestion was find a family that has multiple students in the program that's kind of doing that. And when we looked at this, we thought kind of pie in the sky. We would like to start looking at some of our homeschool students who are in district, who we know are looking for programming help that we could provide to. And if this passes, to proactively reach out to those students and then maybe tap those families on the shoulder too to serve as a representative, because not only then would they be a Prescott family, but they might have some longevity on this board. Once that's in place, then the suggestion given to us was have that first governance council decide how you then select future governance councils and go through that process. Another major topic was around special education, and I think we kind of answered this last time, but I do want to reiterate it, that this would be open to special education students. It wouldn't be closed. That obviously a student's individual education plan is a legal document, so we would provide all the supports that are included in that. But in addition to that, every one of our REVA students would get an individual learning plan as well, that we would have a special education teacher in district who would serve as their case manager and offer support, and that Ed Options also has a special education team who does this specifically that I've worked with in the past. While they can't serve as a case manager, they do serve as what I would kind of term as an instructional assistant that is providing some of those more specific supports to students on a daily basis. And obviously that would be under the direction of our Director of Pupil Services. And then lastly, I think the biggest question was, what's the risk? What's the finance piece? And I think, Pat, that came from you. And so just to reiterate for people who might not have been here, there is a funding source for this. So for every student in, we get state funding. It's a 70-30 split. That's a requirement. So 70% of revenue brought in per pupil needs to go to the virtual charter. The other 30% within that year can go to Prescott School District. When we reached out to the contact I've been working with, who has started a couple of these, he clarified for me that at the end of the year, this is all Fund 10 money. And so it can be spent or it can be saved by the district. And from that point forward, it becomes the district's money. And he said the idea would be if you have virtual charter needs, you're using that money on virtual charter. But if you have district needs or needs that ancillarily benefit the charter or charter students, you can use those funds for those things as well.
So hiring teacher or something along those lines, and if we can pull a teacher for double duty, then we could use.
Right, so you're going to notice like on our roles and responsibilities, we have a PHS counselor serving as kind of counseling and learning plan. So if they are doing that for 20% of their time, we can use the money from the virtual charter to pay 20% of their contract. Okay. You know, and it could go for anybody on that list, any of our teachers as well. But at the end of the year, it's Fund 10 money, so it can go to any other district need.
Okay. So then it really does benefit, like it is advantageous for us to do that. There's a reason it's working in St. Croix Central. There's a reason, especially with Elmwood, such a small district, it's working there, is that money is coming.
Right. The cautionary tale that I was given is you couldn't forecast forward and say, next year we know we're going to need another middle school teacher in science. And we know they're not going to do anything with the virtual charter, but we're going to allocate virtual charter funds for that teacher. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the year, if you haven't spent it, you don't lose that money, it becomes district money.
Okay.
Essentially, it's estimated 70% of the incoming money should go towards whatever it takes to run this place. Don't overspend it on other stuff. 30% you got.
Correct. Yep. That was really my last slide. So I'm ready to be peppered with questions.
Brad, do you have some questions?
No, I think you answered it. I think it's, I mean, my question was, so when you're saying that 20% of the time of a teacher, my question was going to be, do you take it out of the 70% or the 30%? But it sounds like it's all district money, but on average, it has to be all spent on the...
Yeah, my understanding is you'd start with the 70%, and so you would deplete that money on salaries, on technology or software, because that's what Ed Options is going to be. We have an obligation to test all of these students. That's a state obligation. So when I talk to Elmwood, they actually send their counselor out like 5 times. She uses a district vehicle. She drives to Stevens Point. She drives to Milwaukee, and then they set up a testing site. But the vehicle costs, the gas, the hotels, renting a space, all of that is covered under the 70%. Okay. Yep, and so they did that when I spoke to Dr. Webb last. They were more than 3/4 through their year. He said they have not used even 20% of the 70% allocation that they had. It's just, that doesn't cost them that much to run this.
And I know you had kind of were talking about, you see the need in district for some of our kids to have this option. So wouldn't necessarily, I mean, the idea is that'd be great if they were close in town or in the county or a couple counties away, then, we don't have those wouldn't have huge charges like that or whatever, especially if you're looking at trying to talk to homeschool that we know are in the area, that sort of stuff. So.
And there's some other ways to do that. We don't need to necessarily drive out. Another district contracts out at a national testing site. They pay for the ACT at that national testing site, and the students can just go there, so they don't need to actually send anybody out. So there's a lot of different ways to do this.
Different options, okay.
Yep.
I think you're stuck with the name, though.
I'm trying. Michael's not here, so he's trying to talk me out of it.
Tanya, do you have any questions?
I mean, I have one comment, one question. I see this as being really, at least at first, beneficial when we have declining enrollment. A lot of this, and I'm sure the other schools they're not spending a lot because they're not having to hire new staff. They're able to absorb this within their teaching staff right now. And that's a positive for us. We're in a position to be able to do that. If we grow this program, that's when it's going to start costing us a little bit more money, which we also bring in more at that point. So that's great. But my question then is this something you still want to pursue after kind of looking into this a little bit more? And do you feel like you have the time within kind of your daily duties and stuff to manage this?
Yeah, I think so. I know it's something that I would like to pursue.
Yeah.
I think just kind of my pitch, anecdotally, we've been losing quite a few students to online. I think, ironically, also, after the last board meeting, there was a newspaper article, and I received a couple of phone calls already and one drop-in about people who basically said, hey, my student has got this, my student's got that, we'd love to come back. So I think there is a desire and a need. Obviously, there are a lot of virtual charters out there, but I think students and families who are more localized in our surrounding community, obviously, but also in the surrounding counties, want somebody who's a little more local. They don't want to go to an Appleton or a Milwaukee because I think it feels so impersonal. So I think if we can provide that, I also think we have a really good track record as a school district on academics, and so I think there's a brand there of trust that people don't feel like they're going to get the puppy mill version of a virtual charter school. And lastly, meeting with Mr. Reef and the team that we met with to talk about the roles and responsibilities, I think that was really good to clarify. that it is going to take a team to do this, and we started to delineate some of those responsibilities. And that was, I think, kind of empowering for all of us to say, we can do this. It's going to take a team to do this. One person's not going to be able to execute this. But I think we have really good people in all of those positions to make it happen.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, awesome question. Pat?
This is great. You just brought up something. So how does the performance of the virtual school play into like our district report card?
It's separate.
It's separate.
And it's separate. If this starts small, it won't actually get its own report card.
Okay.
So certain years, Elmwood has not had their own report card for the virtual charters. They've just been too small. St. Croix Central has its own. They have 156 students right now, I think. But it doesn't get calculated into St. Croix Central's report card. They get a report card as a district. They get a report card as high school. St. Croix Virtual Academy, I think is what they're called, gets their own report card. And the metrics are different, the achievement and growth look very, very different than what their on-site programming looks like.
So even if it's too small to have its own report card, those metrics won't play into our district's, the high school's report.
Correct.
Okay, they're separate.
Yep.
Whether they get their own or
Which is one of the protections that that this board has, that our district has in having a virtual charter versus just starting
An online. Okay.
is that you don't entangle quite honestly, you don't have the risk of the academic fallout if things don't go well.
Right, perfect. And thanks for answering kind of the financial liability from just if we do start the school and just things aren't going well. I mean, we outside of finishing the year, we can just choose not. Is there any special notice we got to give the state or anybody else? We can just choose to void the program.
At any time.
At any time.
Yep.
Okay. And then I know you talked about this last month, but again, this is from an admissions standpoint. This is a process that has to be gone through.
Correct.
And only with good cause, right? Will they be enrolled in the virtual school?
Yeah, correct. The student and family would first have to go through Wisconsin's actual open enrollment process. And actually at this time of year, that's passed. So they'd have to go through emergency open enrollment. They'd have to show a need and a cause to leave their district to seek this type of education. So that's at the state level. Susie typically is working through that along with Courtney. But then once they would get to our level, we would also have an enrollment process and a process to determine the needs of the student, how to best support that person, whether it's going to be a fit, and then going over, especially with the student and the family, our expectations to stay in the program. Because from someone who's watched the programs from the outside for 10 years now, there are a lot of times when I think programs have maybe not. I think they have done a disadvantage to families in not being very clear and not holding them to certain expectations, and they put them years behind their education.
Thanks. That's good for me.
Can I ask, okay, so just to clarify, this will be a public school. So essentially, anybody can open enroll into it, right?
Correct.
So we are able to decline students or not able to decline students?
You can decline students in the outside of the open enrollment, regular open enrollment window.
Okay, gotcha.
You can also select whether you'll accept students facing expulsion or students who have been expelled.
For sure, yep, okay. But otherwise, because it's a public school, within the window of open enrollment, because it's not necessarily within our boundary kids, we have to accept the kids into that. But we can do things like the learning plans and probationary kind of stuff and all that.
Correct.
Right, okay.
With a couple of notes, you can close a program much like we do for special education. And then this, because it is an open enrolled student and family, the attendance and participation is far stricter than it is for our own students. So really what they have is a term. And if within a term they're not successful as a virtual charter, you can release them back to their home district.
Okay. And then just another, because you brought it up too, and I just was kind of wondering when we talked about the report card and whose students are these kids really? really, so things like the College Now program, for example. If some of our kids wanted to go to that, is that something that comes to us and we approve like we do our other kids, or is that something like your board will approve?
That would have to go, my understanding is,
Yeah.
that would have to go to the governance council.
Okay. 'Cause,
You're essentially
yeah.
just giving that council
Yeah.
authority to do that.
Okay, great. I was just wondering,
But it
yeah.
also has to be within the funds that that program has.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
I think I don't remember talking about it last month, but I'm just going to bring it, like, our school district policies that we have as a district, do any of them or none of them apply to do we enforce policy on the?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the College Now there's policy, that's kind of what I was wondering, is like,
I'm thinking
this
like
our kids or not,
student-related
essentially?
policies.
The tough separation, from my perspective, and I'd have to look into this more, I think, Start College Now and ECCP are not really, they're within our policy, but it's a state program. We don't really have a choice whether we follow that or not.
Right.
Other policies around staffing and student conduct, for sure would be enforced. I'm trying to think of, there would probably be certain policies that just because the student's not on site might not feel applicable, but would still, if that student did ever come on site, would be applicable.
I think it's probably, I mean, you're at whatever beginning-ish stages of looking into this, but I wonder if there is a separate group of policies that would need to be put in place, so you would have almost your separate policies. Because so many of ours would really look different for an online student, a full-time online student, so, yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's just food for thought, maybe something to look into, but next steps, Josh, are we looking at a possible, like a June action item here to approve this? Is that, where are we going with this?
We're kind of waiting to see how tonight went, but I think either June or July. Yeah, Josh and I can talk about that. He's done a great job being the driving force behind this, so.
Okay.
And then last month, you had said that January 1st is like the deadline, right, to put in the paperwork for it, so you would have.
January.
So you want to have this
Yeah.
up and ready to go and everything submitted before the end of 2026?
January 30th.
January 30th.
Is a date that the state gives to be on the virtual charter registry.
Okay.
For the open enrollment, the regular open enrollment window. If and when this gets approved at any time, they'll add us to that registry at that time.
Okay.
We're beyond that open enrollment window.
Right.
So it's not like a lot of parents and a lot of eyes are going to have attention on our name at this point. If we were going to wait until then, for sure by January 30th, if we did it earlier, if we did it in the summer, that would be phenomenal to kind of have a soft start, I think, and see if we can get kind of immediately. I'm looking at some of our kids who have open enrolled out for virtual charters to try and get them back. Some of our homeschool families in the district would be great as well, and then work with our social media team that we contract with to see what they would recommend for marketing. Ed Options has also done this with a couple other schools on the western part of the United States. So they actually have a marketing plan that they would give to us if we wanted to market out to other districts or other regions of Wisconsin.
We're kind of you're looking at like a slow roll, get it up and going and on the registry for the summer so that you can possibly get some students here for August.
It won't get on the registry, though.
Oh.
Right, because we pass the date, it'll go next January.
It'll still get on the registry.
Yeah.
It would get on the registry the month following our approval.
Okay.
That registry is just not going to have a lot of eyes on it because it's outside of the open enrollment window.
Open enrollment window. Okay.
So likely June, maybe July for an action item.
Okay.
Great.
I don't hear any.
Josh, do you need anything from us, though? Do you have any
The
questions?
questions are very helpful. The questions last time, I think, gave us a lot of guidance on where to look more. I think the question about policies is really good, so I'd like to explore that more.
Okay.
At some point, there is an actual contract that needs to be signed between the district.
We have a clerk, yeah.
We got a new clerk. Perfect. I do have, so essentially Wisconsin has a template of what that looks like. Our contact that I've used to really navigate some of this process gave me some suggestions. I spent a couple months ago, I mocked that up for what it looks like for our district with some of the policies. So at any point where you feel like you might be ready to look at that and move forward, I could send that to Jim and Courtney and they could get it to all of you.
Yeah, I think we were right on we were hopeful this last week that there might be some extra education dollars and that got shot down. So I think we need to, if the state's not going to do that, then we need to look at options, and if this gives us that little bit of help and you guys are ready to go,
All right.
I don't know if I got any more questions or not, really.
We'll plan on a June board item unless for some reason it doesn't, falls apart. But we'll plan on June and we'll get it rolling then.
All right.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, staff handbook revision process.
So the board has a copy of the proposed 27-28 employee handbook. This really started probably all the way back in February, early March, talking with principals, working with the superintendent's advisory committee, sending out a survey to the staff, asking them what they wanted things taken care of. All the highlights in your copy are updated in yellow. When we publish it, after it's voted on at the June board meeting, everything will remain in yellow. This year, everything was highlighted in blue. It's a 80-some-odd page document, so that way, when staff look through it, they don't have to read all the 88 pages. They can just scan through it and look at the yellow ones. One thing we added that was minor is intentional acts of dishonesty are subject to disciplinary action. That was recommended by one of our legal counsels. Our insurance company asked that we have a couple of principals who teach hunter safety courses, and our policy currently says staff must notify the principal. They wanted us to add if it's a principal, they must notify me. That way they're not notifying themselves. And also from our insurance company, must notify the direct supervisor and myself if they're in a car accident. I apologize, I should have added in a school vehicle. So if we back into a post with our new van, they have to make sure they notify us as soon as everybody's safe. For staff reduction, we're adding performance evaluation to the steps specifically. It was kind of in there, but vaguely. Blackout days, we're going to first off drop the blackout days from the beginning and ending of, you used to not be able to take a personal day right before or right after a vacation day or a day off. We're going to drop that part and limit it just to professional development days and parent-teacher conferences. People have to get approval from the district office, and we'll do everything in our power to approve them, especially if they're kind of once every 5-year, once in a blue moon kind of days. I can either take questions at the end or as we go along.
We can pause here if anybody has any questions on this stuff. Anybody at this point?
No.
Keep rolling.
Bereavement leave, honestly, this one's really hard to talk about because you're talking about, it's hard to judge how close somebody else is to somebody. Personally, I have an uncle that I haven't seen in 40 years, but I have a best friend who, if he passed away, I would definitely want some time off. So we're going to divide it into spouses, children, parents, siblings, domestic partners, or anybody living in their home would be 5 days. That would include, in both cases, this would include STEP as well. And then 2 days off for grandparent, uncle, niece, nephew, cousin, brother, sister-in-law, and this includes great-grandparents, great-uncles, etc. And then the district administrator may extend at their discretion using either personal time or vacation time, and may also make an exception for a close personal friend. We're trying to give as much leeway as possible when somebody passes away with still giving some type of guidance.
Anyone? Questions?
No, I like the principal way approach that, instead of just being rule-based, right? So this is what it is, that you're giving some discretion on your end. Because everybody's situation is different, so that's appropriate.
And we're going to do everything we can to grant all of those as well. Obviously, we don't make rules for the 5%. Obviously, if somebody comes to me with their 7th bereavement leave in a year, we'll have a conversation. This is a big one that was raised up by some of our staff. We have a lot of expectant parents or new parents this year. There is a dependent care flexible savings account that is a federal program. It is similar to an HSA or an IRA, and you are allowed to contribute pre-tax to child care, $7,500 if you're married and filed jointly, $3,750 if you file single. So this can save some real tax dollars for a lot of our young parents. And the cost to the department, to the district, is approximately $2,000 total for the entire staff. So there's not a whole lot of cost to the district, and it really gives an opportunity for us to help out those parents of young children.
I think that's an easy one.
Yeah.
But if anybody has any questions.
I guess my only question is, I heard you say that there was a lot of interest.
Yeah, we had 4 or 5, and I think I've seen in the last 3 months at least 6 baby announcements. I'm looking over at the teachers. Anybody have any ideas? Principals? We got a lot of maternity leaves.
And we've had a decent amount of people just not on maternity leave who are interested in it as well, and so I think as a package, it's an option.
The next one's a little bit, may get some discussion. Basically, what happens right now is you have to be here for 10 years to get invested. This district does a wonderful thing with a 403B match, but if you leave before the end of your 10th year, you're not vested at all. It's a 100%. Ashley and I met with WEA Trust by Zoom. We've talked about this with the Superintendent's Advisory Committee. They gave me a lot of feedback. Basically, what we came up with was 50% vested after 5 years. So you're 0% vested until July 1st of year 6. And then you get 12.5% additional vesting each year. So you go, after 5 years, you got 50%, 6 years, you got 62.5, 75, 87.5, and then 100% after 8. The magic number that you want to keep staff in your district is through year number 6. Once you get a staff member to stay 6 years, they have a much higher chance of staying. And then replacement cost. Our contract is very, very teacher-friendly. A lot of districts have a penalty after June 15th. We have no separation cost until July 1st. Right now, it's $500 after July 1st, $1,000 after August 1st. We're recommending adding a $2,000 separation cost if you leave on or after August 15th. There's a significant impact to hiring a teacher in the last 2 weeks of August, because our new teacher training, I think, next year is scheduled for August 18th. So if somebody leaves us on August 16th, it really puts us in a hard spot.
Anybody got questions on the 403B or comments?
No, I like the collaboration. That's what we wanted, was with that superintendent advisory committee, with employees to be able to have some say with what is in the handbook, so.
Has it been floated out past the advisory committee at all, or how is?
Well, there's a couple of them in the room. They do a very good job of meeting. We'll talk a little bit ahead of time through email about what we're going to talk about, and for the most part, 75 or 80% of them come with notes from people in their building. And then we talk through everything based on their notes and send them back with questions and comments. One of the other things I like about it is we have a teacher who takes minutes of the meeting, and they get sent out directly. I have no say in what the minutes are. It's very much as we possibly can a teamwork between the staff and myself. So my read around the table was everybody around the table really approved of this type of plan.
Awesome. All right.
Personal days, again, the board added longevity pay. Another way that we heard from our staff that would be really, really nice, I've been in the district 25 years and I would really love to go to Italy without having to, take unpaid days or whatever. And again, with that 6-year mark, so upon the start of their 6th year and their 11th year, they will receive an additional personal day with a subsequent decrease in sick days. So right now, they would pick up an additional personal day, so they'd go from 2 personal days to 3 personal days, and they'd go from 10 sick days down to 9 sick days. As always, we do a great job, and our principals really do a great job of granting everybody's personal days. We have limits on there technically of 2 per day. We're talking about maybe going to 10% per building per day out of a building. As far as the principals have told me, they can't remember denying somebody a personal day. We did throw in there that if they're going to take 3 or more personal days in a row, they must submit a request 30 days in advance. And a week off, they must get the district office to sign off on. Again, all we're looking to do then, we want to help that person go to Italy for a week. The only thing is we would like to know 30 days ahead of time so that we can get 1 sub for all 5 days instead of 5 different subs for 5 days. That's the whole purpose of that, is just so that we can get them a consistent sub. And as somebody who taught for 20 years and was out once for medical, I was very happy that I had the same person teaching my class for 2 weeks.
So this is almost kind of like a shift towards a regular, what most, outside of schools, how vacation time operates for businesses.
Exactly.
Okay.
How many personal days do staff have to start off with right now? 2 or 3? 3, okay, thank you. I was wondering because it said up to a week, and he said 2, and, okay.
Yeah, it's 3 to 4, my apologies.
I was like, 2 is not a lot, yeah, okay.
The personal days are they use it or lose it on a
No, they can sell those back, and so we have adjustable language in there as well, so they can sell back days at the end of the year, or they can carry them over into the next year. So somebody who's been here for 12, 15 years can really, if they want to, and they plan ahead, carry 7 days.
Up to 7.
Up to 7 days into the next year, if we go with this new system.
Carry 2. Oh, so now it will be 7.
Yeah. Because you go from 3 plus 2 to 5, and you go 5 plus 2 is 7. That's what I got for teaching math all. So yeah, so somebody who plans, and that's what we want. We want to honor our people who've been here 10, 15, 20 years and say, if you have a special event and you need to be gone for a week, your child has a destination wedding someplace, yeah, we want to work with you and make sure we honor that because you've done that service for us.
Well, and it's certainly a lot easier, like you said, on the district to line up, if we know a month ahead of time, to line up subs and figure all that scheduling out. Way easier for teachers to plan ahead of time for the time they're going to be off and have all that ready to go, so.
And this doesn't change the language on standalone personal days, which says try to get them in 48 hours in advance, and emergencies, we'll figure it out afterwards.
All right, thank you.
Staff reduction, there's language in the policy in the handbook that talks about, we are supposed to evaluate all of our staff on how well they participate in professional development and the PLC process. That sounds really good on paper, but it's simply impossible because the vast majority of our professional development and PLC meetings are being run by our administrators. So we have a great group of administrators. I'd stack them up against anybody in Western Wisconsin. However, it's pretty hard to run a presentation and at the same time evaluate how your staff is participating in that evaluation. And then for snow days, we added that, because currently, right now, food service and instructional assistants are allowed to use, they get 2 free snow days, and then they can use up to 2 sick days a year if we have for snow days 3 and 4, assuming they were scheduled to work that day. Custodians are always required to report if they are not called in, or if they're called in for snow removal. This just simply adds that language to them if they are not called in for snow removal. So snow removal will still take priority.
So that was the only,
That was
really the only one that was missing and,
Yeah.
okay, language.
We had the freezing rain day, and it got, we figured it was going to, by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it was going to be in the mid to late 30s. So Mike Hoyka called me and said, what do I do with my custodians?
Yeah.
So, because it's going to melt by then.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit of language on the nutritional staff. I cut and pasted it right from the DPI. Directors have to have 12 hours of training. Lead cooks, or what the DPI calls management, has to have 10 hours, and staff has to have 6 hours. Our wage scale reflects the April board's movement to approve the 3.3% and 3.63%. All those scales have been changed. The organizational chart we added to the appendix. If we ask people to follow it, we should put it in the handbook where they can find it. Any questions on that? No. I didn't think so. And then we had a hard-to-fill referral staff bonus. We want to put this form at the end, up to $500, determined as hard to hire by myself. We talked about it last time as non-certified. We would recommend that it be actually both for certified and non-certified, thinking of our currently tech ed position. And again, we want to add that to the end. And then the table of contents is completely wrong, but you never update that until the board approves it. Because otherwise, Courtney would have to update it like 9 times, and so.
That's a mouthful. Anybody have any questions on anything we went over, Brad?
No questions. Makes sense.
Vicky?
I got it.
Pat?
No questions.
Tanya?
I know you're laughing because I always have questions, but we actually been working on this for a little bit now, so I don't have questions.
Yeah, this is fantastic. It's May, and we have a handbook update.
And it's, so hearing no questions or no comments, first of all, I want to thank Courtney for helping me dig for policies. I want to thank Tanya and Vicky for working with me and the administration team, but a special shout out to the Superintendent's Advisory Committee, who were really there talking to us about what their needs are. So hopefully this is a 45-second item in June, on the June agenda.
Thank you.
This is going to be a kind of a yearly review to make sure that if we do have to make changes, we get changes in.
My plan is for this to happen every single school year, as long as I'm in the district, so hopefully for a decade.
All right.
And hopefully it gets shorter and shorter, because we'll be doing more and more fine tuning, but laws will always change and situations will always change.
Okay, perfect.
All right, we'll move on to the intermediate school building.
All right, this one is, again, we had 2 listening sessions, and I promised the board I would come back and give you feedback on the listening sessions. I know this has been a monthly item because it's an important thing. The April 15th meeting, we had about 30 residents. It was held at 5 o'clock right before our April board meeting. Completely anecdotal, we did not take votes or anything like that. I would say roughly 60% of the comments were in favor of selling the building. At the April 30th meeting, there were 20 people, mostly PIS neighbors. That, I think, we held it at the intermediate school for a reason, and I also walked the neighborhood, and everywhere I could find a decent spot in somebody's door to put a flyer, I put a flyer to that invite. There's probably 20, 22 people there. I would say about 2/3 of them wanted to keep the building. Some general points, a lot of appreciation from everybody for the pace and the transparency that the board is leading with, and that the district's choosing to use through the process. Many people expressed that it's been much different than the last attempted sale. There's a general acceptance that something has to shift with our current financial situation and declining enrollment. There's interest in that as we progress, regular updates are given. Some are more interested in listening sessions if it's listed, but the challenge with that is this is really a board decision, not a public decision, but I do think I can definitely, as we go through the process as needed, put out Facebook updates, email updates, and get information out to people as much as possible, but I will do any listening session the board asks on any topic. With the two camps, we have the Sell It camp. Many noted that they were promised to be, it was promised it would be sold as once the new high school was built. There's some resentment that that promise in their mind was not kept. There is a belief that we can't be concerned about sunk costs if we don't need the building, as we need to move on from it. So yes, in the last 5 years, we've put a significant amount of money into that building, but those sunk costs are gone, and we need to not look at them. We need to look to the future. Increased savings by selling the building makes more financial sense. Concerned about sinking more money into the roof and the air handler. We've been very transparent about that. The air handler is 2 to 3 years out. The roof is 5 to 8 years out. We can possibly stretch that by doing it section by section. One of the interesting tense moments at the April 15th thing was, what company did you hire to come up with 1,420 kids in 3 buildings? They were very happy to find out that we didn't hire anybody. We trusted our principals. We trusted Sarah, Michael, Kyle, and Josh and their teams to literally count and say, hey, we can put 24 kids in this room. We can only put 22 in that room. We can put 26 in this one. And it was the principals as a team that came up with 1,420. And again, that's just for 3. Courtney and I signed the open enrollment thing. I think we're at 1153 today, is how many people we have in our building as of our modified count right now. So with almost 100 graduating and 70 coming in, we'll be at about 1,120 kids. Best estimate next September. So we'll have room for 300 more kids. Those from the Maintain the Building camp, their main points were we'll never get the square footage back at this cost. A lot of what ifs if we have a population spike, and I think a lot of that comes from past history about busing kids to Ellsworth and portables at Malone. I know there's some history there, and that's, very legitimate. A strong belief, especially from the group that met on April 30th at the intermediate school, that we are a decade at minimum away from getting another building referendum passed. A lot of comments about it would have to come from the next generation. There is significant nostalgia for the building in the community. Several suggest we rent out portions of the building to nonprofit organizations. My personal question on that is who's going to do the managing? It's going to be a whole lot easier said than done. Ashley's already doing 1.5 jobs, so I don't know who we would, if there would be any profit, because we'd have to figure out somebody who's going to manage all those rentals. So some suggest we keep it for a year or two and see where we're at. Again, the population addition, I struggle at 4:30 on snowy mornings to whether to call school off or now. So I would love to be able to tell you that 6 years from now, the population of Prescott will be X and our student population will be Y. The experts tell us that we're going to get about 25 students from the apartment building being built over by the high school, by the water tower, and roughly 150 to 200 in the Great Rivers edition. I explain that to everybody at every meeting, including a few phone calls and several emails. Right now, we're currently 300 students under our comfortable level, not even our cram them together level, and we'll be almost 400 under in 3 or 4 years. And then this is the most important thing. As Mr. Smith reported, we are desperately short in gym space compared to other people in our conference. That doesn't even consider the fact that PCR and community ed uses this a lot of times. There were a couple emails sent to me about gym space. Matt, Penny, and Angie talked about how we would need to keep it or replace it. 2 or 3 months ago, I got a back-of-the-napkin 10-minute calculation from Bray, how much it would cost to add a gym to the back of the high school gym. They told us right around $3 million. They did a formal draw-up of this to add a new gym, a small vestibule, and extra bathrooms that would probably be required is now at $4.4 million. That is in 2027, $28 because we're probably not trying to build it this summer. Frankly, we couldn't get a contracting company to build it this summer. At best, it would be summer 2027 or summer 2028. That number came in $1.4 million higher than Bray quoted us before, so that obviously changes things. I see 3 options for the board. And I'm going to put the 4th option out there at the start, which is just table this for 2 or 3 months and get more input from the community. We are not in a rush. The board gave us the grace of having next year to plan for moving 4th and 5th grade to the middle school. So we have time to wait if the board chooses to wait. But if we're going to list it for sale, we can select a realtor and list it at for $3 to $3.5 million, including the gym, and figure out a way to make up the rest of that money, whether it be naming rights, etc., to build a new gym on the back of the high school. We could also list it for sale with a 50 or 100-year lease back of the gym. It is legal to list it for sale that way, that whoever buys it is required to lease the gym back to us. Again, we'd select a realtor. We do have local buyers who've already shown interest in the property. It's likely in this case, if we look for just a local buyer, that we could use a lawyer at an hourly rate to close the deal instead of a realtor. And the 3rd option is to hold on to the building. Northwest Journey would like to expand their space. The gathering space would love to be moved into the academic wing down on the 1st floor, close to the cafeteria. Gym space would continue as normal. We could explore additional renters. Again, my concern is who's going to monitor all of that and handle all that. Will that take away from our educational need? But there is also possibility of renting out the cafeteria space and kitchen like we do our Performing Arts Center through community ed for parties, weddings, etc. We can't do long-term rentals to for-profits, but we can use it with the same general framework as we do with our Performing Arts Center. If we do that, we got to take a look at the roof in 5 to 8 years. I want to end by telling you I've been in Prescott for almost 11 months. I love being here, but I am not a Prescott Cardinal, so I think all 3 options are valuable, and I think it's something that the board needs to decide on behalf of the community. So I am not recommending any one of these 3 over any others.
All right, Pat, I don't know if you want to, any comments or anything here at this point?
Yeah, just maybe a couple of them. Back to some of the listening comments. There was one about sunk costs, right? And Vicki was a part of the same committee. I think it's important to realize that the sunk costs were put in as just absolute necessaries, had to do type things, and that bigger long-term investment strategies in that building were not taken on at that time. I think that's just important to keep reinforcing. Our current, some of the current forecast, or the current forecasting that we have been doing includes not selling this building, but rather making it a non-educational space. So if we believe that our current forecasting and what the state is either going to do or not going to do, right? I mean, we have forecasted for it not to be sold.
Yeah,
so that's important.
I think it's a great point, Pat. All of the Baird models that Ashley shared with the board assume that we kept it. And so we could obtain up to, maybe an extra $150 to or so thousand, plus or minus $20,000 in savings if we sold it. But all of our forecast models right now just have us holding on to it.
Right. I also think Mr. Wolf isn't here tonight, but, if it were to go to sale and it's to go to a developer, it's the developer's responsibility to get it approved by the city for whatever that use is going to be. The district has nothing to do with that. I guess we could either choose to sell it or not sell it, but that is between the purchaser and the city of Prescott. I believe that is accurate. Just wanted to make note of that. Yeah, maybe those are just my initial thoughts, Mike, and questions. And thank you for saying that it is legal to put it for sale and with the caveat or whatever of a lease back of the gym space. So that was one of our questions.
So kind of follow up with what you were talking about, Pat. I guess my only thing with like the city is, I guess, if it were something we were thinking about listing, I think we as a board need to know if the city is even willing to consider if it needs to be rezone it, because if they're not even interested in doing that, then I don't want to get a realtor and I don't want to go through that process. I guess that's my only thing with listing it, and we're not going to know if there's interest until we actually list it. But if the city isn't willing to look at or doesn't think it should be rezoned, then I think we're kind of stuck. So I just would like to know, I think, what the city's thoughts are on this, because, I mean, realistically, it involves all of us. It involves the city, it involves the district, it involves all the taxpayers, and I think we need to know if this is even a possibility, selling it to someone who wants to turn it into condos. Could we do that again? Because last time, we're kind of getting dinged on that for not letting people know, but someone came to us.
Right.
Someone approached us.
Yes.
We did not try to sell it.
They wanted to know, like, can we do this now? So we didn't have the luxury of the time and the asking all the questions. This time we have that, and I think we really maybe need to pursue that and look into it, because if there isn't going to be any movement on the city end, then I think that changes how we look at this.
So a couple points. I do know that it was the realtor approaching the board last time, and I do think just through this whole process that the board has led and directed me to do, we've gained a lot of goodwill towards that. And I hope my comments reflected that everybody talked about how nice it has been this time. The city, it would eventually be a city council vote. I've had some brief interaction with Matt Wolf about it. It is possible. There are ways to rezone it for residential, for a condo. But again, we would have to kind of have a buyer, be interested, and it would fall on that buyer. And then it comes down to a city council vote, and we have zero authority over that. But it is possible to rezone it.
Yeah, my concern is, I guess, I would love to know what the city's thinking, but I also don't think that's a hinder for us to put it up, right? That's because we're not getting a vote. I mean, that they're telling us one thing one day, and they can change their mind the next day. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's just kind of where I'm at with that. It doesn't cost us any money to have it go on the market, to have it considered. But it doesn't change anything really for us. It's up to the buyer to do that kind of work. And just having a conversation with the city doesn't really mean much, because that can change like a lot of things that come towards us or come towards the city. Things change.
I'm looking more at kind of like that understanding, kind of a cooperative thing with the city, in that we're kind of in a bind here as a district. We need to do something, and we may need the city's assistance to do that. Otherwise, we just keep burdening our taxpayers.
Could we take this approach? Maybe, Jim, you could reach out and talk to Matt and say, hey, we're trying to figure out what the best path forward here is, and get some advice from them to see what they think. I mean, would it be better to, because we could have multiple different sellers want this property for something completely different than residential. Maybe somebody wants to buy and tear down the building and do something completely different, a business. So I don't think we know.
Or put in houses.
Right?
Whatever.
Yeah, so I don't know if, is that, and Brad, I don't know if you have any comments you want to weigh in on this at all?
I mean, I have personal feelings about it, but nothing that I need to voice today.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I'm wondering, like, we don't know, until we know who wants to buy it and what they want it for, it's kind of hard to, get any buy-in from anybody. I mean, the city's going to have to evaluate all that when that comes, because they're going to look at proposals and all that stuff to see.
And just like the apartment buildings, they didn't approve the first ones, they came back, they approved, so it just isn't, to me, we're just not going to get any kind of actual answers, other than, and I hope that they know that we're trying to sell it, and that is a good question to reach out to them, and I know that they know these things, and they can work with us or not. Unfortunately, like, the school district impacts the city as well, and, I think they know that stuff. I don't know how long we want to sit on, what does it do to sit on this decision for another couple of months? Like, we're not really getting new information at this point. We're not really hosting.
My next point is that we paused because we wanted to get community input.
Yeah,
right?
at this point.
And we've gotten the community input. It feels like we're ready to take that next step. If we pause for 3 months,
we miss all this.
Does that bias anything at all?
No. No. And
I mean, I agree with that. I think the low, no-cost option, it's not going to cost us anything to start. And waiting, I don't think that buys us anything either.
No.
I think we need to move ahead and see what our options are.
And we can always, let's say we decide to list it. We can always list it if we don't get what we're asking for, we don't sell it. I mean, there's a lot of control that we have over that stuff. I also looked at, like, the gym estimate, and that was I get it, they didn't really, but, like, that's looking at 2 courts. We don't have 2 courts now. We don't need new locker rooms. We don't need new bathrooms. I've never seen those bathrooms even a third full during a game, right? So, yeah, it came in high at 4.4, but that's with all of the bells and whistles and stuff, and we don't need those things. We don't have it at the gyms. The gym space we have now for the I guess it's intermediate school, is 2 single-stall bathrooms.
Yep.
Right? We just don't need all that stuff, and so.
Some of it might just be code-driven.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could take the bathrooms off. There is no locker rooms. We'd use the current high school locker rooms right now. It's a pretty bare bones gym with about 10 feet around the outside on one side, and 3 sides, and then 8 feet on the other side. And then, so kind of currently, if you walk past the high school locker rooms and training rooms and you go out that back door, that's where we could add in anywhere from 2 to 3 stalls up to, I think they designed it with, then they calculate them per fixture. I think they designed it with 4 units in each bathroom.
And I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I'm just saying that 4.4, that's not necessarily where it would land. There's things that we can do with that, so.
Well, and those are estimated out costs, which I'm sure they built in inflation for 27 or 28 build.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, Jim, what would be, like, would we have to take an action item to invoke a process to get a realtor? Is that what we have to do that?
I can.
I mean, we're not, again, I don't think this needs to be done tomorrow.
Nope. And transparency, I'm coming from a 1-school district. If I sold the only school I was in, we'd have to close the district. So I can talk to the lawyers. I can talk to a couple of the realtors. I don't know if I can do this on my own. I don't think so. But we can come back with a June item to either list it for sale. We can see if we
an RFP for a realtor. I mean, can we just? I don't think we're in a hurry here, but there's really nothing that we need from a board perspective for more data to make a decision what we're going to do.
No, I mean, when we select our realtor and stuff like that we might want to have some more. Maybe we'll have like a a work session or something, maybe we invite the city at that point, who knows, right, to have more of a conversation, but right now, the estimate, or the lawyer kind of estimate, or whatever they're guessing for the sale of it, didn't even include any buildings that have actually been sold as a school, so, I mean, there's work there.
I'm sorry for cutting you off, Tony.
Yeah, you're good.
In reality, the building needs to be used next year. We're still using it for academic purposes for 26, 27. So we're not in a hurry to get going on the sale of it, but I would just say let's just plan on getting the process going. I don't think it needs to be rushed for June.
Agreed.
Well, June, we can put June as a request for proposals for realtors.
Okay.
And once we get a realtor involved, or we decide to go with an hourly law firm, once we make that selection in July or August, then they would have a lot more information for us.
Yeah, that would be helpful. Yep, agreed.
Good?
I say the only thing is, if we select a realtor and we could use a lawyer, there's a time for would have to go through the contract with the realtor.
Absolutely, yep.
But if you start with the lawyer, do you have to sign a contract?
No, it'd be hourly.
Hourly, so then, if we're not getting anything, then we can then go to the realtor. So that's something maybe to consider.
We use Axley Law Firm. Lori Lubinsky is our main lawyer. She is not a realtor lawyer, but they have plenty of realtor lawyers that they would refer us to, and then that would be hourly.
All right. Jim, did you get what you need? Are you good?
Yep, we'll add that to the June agenda.
Okay.
So then it'll just be a simple item to put out a request for proposals for realtors. And again, the board can choose to have nobody, and they can choose to go the legal route. So we'll see what we get for options. So.
Great, okay. Next is the Narcan boxes?
Yep, and I didn't update my slides. The George Ford Recovery Foundation donated 4 Narcan recovery boxes. These are very similar to our AEDs, and we're going to locate them near the AEDs by the intermediate school gym, the middle school gym, the high school gym, and the other one will be out here by the library, by that AED. Basically, they will hold Narcan and information about drug recovery. A couple reminders about Narcan: it has 0 side effects. It simply prevents an opioid overdose. 13 states mandate that schools have it on hand. We've had it on hand for a number of years. Currently, there's one in every office. The advantage of these boxes is it allows community members to access them. So if you have a student who has an uncle who has an opioid addiction and they want to grab a box and take it home, they can grab a box and take it home. We have one at my house that sits on my wife's dresser. I have one in my car, but it's not only for a crisis at school, but it's also for the community to take because, frankly, Narcan saves lives. And our nurses check the AEDs monthly. At the same time, they will check and restock the Narcan as needed, and there are numerous government and private organizations to restock the boxes for free, so there should be no cost to the district.
Any questions on this one? Comments?
I just want to make a clarification that Narcan is a brand name, and it's not actually the drug, it's naloxone.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that because it's just a brand.
It's like saying Tylenol, Yeah, sorry. Acetaminophen, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for that educational.
Well, I don't want to be like tied into Narcan. That's just one brand. You guys.
Well, this is kind of cool. How did this come about?
Amy Kraus heard about it and reached out to them, and they donated 4 boxes. And we had a discussion with Amy and with the principals and stuff like that. Frankly, the elementary school just does not see the public traffic that the other schools do.
Right.
So.
Cool. Wow.
All right.
Very, very good.
And the last item is notice for possible quorum on Friday.
Yep.
So high school graduation in the gym at 7 o'clock on Friday. We're likely to have 3 or more school board members there. So that makes a quorum.
That's all we need to say, right?
Yep, no business will be discussed,
All right. Awesome. That concludes Info and discussion, we're back to recognition of visitors. Same rules apply as before. Anybody at this time care to be recognized? Do I have to read this? No, you're good. It's been a hot minute.
Can you hear me? Okay. Tasslyn Magnuson, I'm a resident of Prescott. As a parent of 2 high school grads, they actually do, and a frequent attendee of school board meetings here and across the country, thanks to my day job, I wanted to take a moment to express my confidence in this board, the school administration, and particularly in their careful and deliberate adherence to strong policies. Finally, one thing that I really have loved about this district, as did my children, and if you know Perrin, you know what I'm going to say probably, was the way in which this district and its leaders create a culture that crystallizes the essence of the First Amendment, open and respectful dialogue for all. And I appreciate that. And that's it.
Thanks, Tasslyn. Anybody else?
Ethan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ethan Cranny, and I'm a student at Nokia. And I would like to talk about the social media comment about the attempted assassination of the President of the United States. I am disgusted at the educator we made on staff, and it is not okay. She made remarks on social media.
Ethan, I gotta stop you for a second here. I'm sorry. Just make sure you're not referencing a particular employee, okay? It's okay to talk. I know.
Their name.
I know.
And don't
Thank you.
interrupt me again.
I appreciate you. No, I'm sorry. I have to interrupt. That's my job.
Can I finish?
You can finish.
Can I finish?
Yep. Go ahead.
You would never tolerate a shooting that commit violence. Am I correct about that?
Keep going.
You wouldn't wish death upon anyone. And I don't condone violence, and I never will. It was a direct about violence, and it was a direct about this school and the safety of the student, and I do not tolerate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ethan.
Thank you. Well done. Anybody else care to be recognized at this time? Otherwise, the board is going to consider a motion to convene into closed session under exemptions 1985 1C and 1985 1E in room B101, which is right over there, right? Yep. So we need a motion and time.
I move to convene in closed session under exemptions 1985 1CE in room B101, Prescott High School at 7:55 p.m.
7:55, all right.
I'll second.
All right, that is a motion and a second. We'll just do all in favor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries, and then we will roll call at 7:55. Jim, is there anything actionable that we're going to be coming out of?
It is not likely that we'll have an action item, but I can never guarantee that. But it's unlikely.
If we have an action item, we will come back into open session. and take any motion. Thank you.